So let's decode these buzzwords by mapping them on a spectrum. On the spectrum of the complexity of the question that the business is asking or the type of data required, on one extreme side, we've got business intelligence or data reporting, which is trying to answer some relatively simpler questions needing some simpler data. On the extreme right hand side, we've got fields like predictive analytics, to which machine learning and AI belong. They use really complex data and try to look into the future and answer some really complex questions. So let's start with business intelligence. Business intelligence, as the name suggests, it is about getting intelligence or information about the business. So in this discipline, the analyst is trying to help the business to understand questions like what are my current products being sold? Who are my client? Where are these products being sold? So a lot of the questions that we are trying to answer in this domain from a business objectives pertain to either KPI tracking, which is key performance indicator. Every business set up some goals for them and would like to continually monitor them throughout the given period of their performance measures. Or they could also be looking into get some high level portfolio overview, which gives them some direction into how their business is progressing forward, or if there are any real time flags, customer pain points that they need to be worried about. Now that we know what business intelligence or does, let's look into the skills. We've also done a top 3 thing requires for any analyst in a separate video, the link of which will be shared in this description. So do go through that, which will help you immensely. If you're looking to make a career in business intelligence, first, you need to have a really strong technical skill set. I've listed SQL as a platform because that is one of the most common technology that gets used in this domain. While a lot of new business platform, intelligence platforms promises to operate at a business layer, that is any individual can operate from a front end by drag and drop functionality, it is still very essential aspect to have some sort of a technical skill set. The second is database design, which actually rolls in from a conversation about the technical skill set. A dashboard is only as good as the underlying data. And hence, as an analyst in business intelligence, it is up to you to be able to create a robust, a healthy, and a standard data set on which you will be building your dashboards, which will then further get utilized by your business. The third, dashboarding. Now, dashboarding is the art of telling stories by using different charts, visualizations. While the questions that the business is asking are seemingly simple, less complex, but the information they're asking for is very, very important for them to run the business. So having a very good understanding of what sort of a dashboards or visualizations can be used can really go that extra mile in helping you create a good relationship with your business. Now let's look at some key trends in the business intelligence world. The first is self-serve analytics. Now a lot of business teams have started to build some or other form of data acumen in it. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to be able to slice and dice data themselves. Self-serve is a big aspect of how the organizations are working right now. The second, advanced data visualizations. While the businesses want self-serve, they would like to have more interactive dashboard. So let's take an example. If you were telling the business about the total number of clients or the total number of products being sold, the business is further interested in understanding who these clients are, what are their demographics, what are their age brackets, and where are these clients located from a region or a city perspective. This is where your advanced data visualization, which gives you the ability of knitting together these data points and building an interactive element, which usually happens through click through on one of the graphs, leading them into the second one. The third is the cloud-based initiatives. A lot of organizations nowadays are on a journey or a roadmap to migrate their data into the cloud environment. Now, it is really important to understand while this is the future of how organizations will operate, as an analyst in this domain, you will be required to upskill slightly because the way the technologies and the queries work on cloud could be different on how they worked on-prem for you or on your local machines. Now, having looked at the business intelligence, let's look at the second domain, which is descriptive and diagnostic analytics. Again, as the organizations have modernized, they've started collecting a lot of data about different interactions that the clients are having across their different products or experiences, either on the web or the mobile platform. Now, as this data comes in, the business is now starting to answer to get a lot more details than just high level summaries. The business is really interested in the type of questions like, why did a specific thing happen? When did a specific thing happen? And how do we know this is the right thing or the product for our client? So some of the things or the deep dives that this group of analysts is trying to do is, within this huge inflow of the data, they are trying to identify some trends and patterns which can then answer the questions of why and when a specific thing or an event happened. Then there's also an element of determining the root cause. A lot of times when we generate insights and share it with the business, one of the most frequent questions that I get is, do you know why did that happen? Do we have some sort of a root cause analysis which will help us not only establish why this event happened, but also if any corrective action needs to be taken that can be taken by the organization or your respective business. This is where the analysts who work as descriptive or diagnostic analysts come in play. Now, from a sales perspective, SAS, SQL is the one that have traditionally been pretty dominant in the market and is one of the things that hiring managers are usually looking for. But more recently, over the last few years, there is a lot of demand for analysts that have working knowledge of platforms like tools like R and Python. This is where you bring your cutting edge knowledge and get expedited on the hiring process as well. Again, while technical skills are important, it's equally important to be a problem solver. What that means is, don't just be a good coder, be a great problem solver. Try to understand about your business, what their objectives are, what their client pain points are, and then use that knowledge to mine a lot of insights from your data, which will then become actionable and executable on the business side. So always try to focus on the problem solving element, then just by being very and extremely good in coding. The next is storytelling. Storytelling is the art of conveying the amazing data work that you have done to your business in a manner which is simple to understand and easy to use. Now, we all know data cannot speak by itself. So as an analyst, it is really important for you to have that business knowledge and business problem as the starting point, and then try to knit a story with all the insights that you've generated looking at the data and giving actionable insights back to the business for them to execute. All of this, when packaged in a nicely articulated story, is what helps business action on the insights and the data work that you've done. Some of the hot trends is cloud computing. Again, one of the things that started to happen is, while historically a lot of information has been available on-prem, but it has been really mitigated by the large cost associated with them. So a lot of organizations are now on a roadmap or a journey to migrate their data into the cloud, which is an interesting time for any analyst to be upskilling into them. So some of the technologies that are really playing, depending upon the cloud infrastructure that you have, you might want to understand what are the associated. So if you're working with Google Cloud, BigQuery is what you will like to look at. If you're working with Azure, Databricks is something that you want to explore as the organization mines into cloud computing. And please bear in mind, these are just a few examples. Different organizations have different roadmap and paths. What is more important is whatever cloud environment your organization is looking in for, the respective analytics platform is what you should be seeking for. The second thing is edge computing. Now, as we collect a lot of more information about our clients, historically there has been latency, and by the time we get that data, analyze it, and convert it into some actionable insight. The business nowadays is really restless. They want to know everything that happened as of the moment they happen. Edge computing is a new trend wherein we are analytics community is getting closer to when the event happened and it was captured in the system, and in a way try to able to analyze in a very real time manner and give the actionable insights back to the business. Finally, agile data and analytics. Now, this is something that I've been following, which basically we've all heard that how organizations are going agile. They are less following the waterfall approach and more trying to do an iterative approach. Something similar is happening in data and analytics as well. While historically, we've been known as a community that would have taken a lot of time to generate the right insights, now there is a key appetite for us to move forward in an iterative mode by breaking the larger project into smaller chunks and in a continuous feedback mechanism, iterating over them with our business. Now let's move to the extreme end of the spectrum we spoke of, and this is where the elements of machine learning and AI come in. Now what's happening is, because that we are getting so much data, not only the data is changing and our understanding for clients are changing, the business is starting to ask and use this data to be able to look into the future and predict how might these clients make better use of a service, or how can we put the right product or experiences in front of the client as and when they need it. This is where the realm of predictive analytics comes in. Now, what's basically happening is the analysts or the data scientists working in this domain are trying to predict outcomes. Would my customer like a specific product? If I were to optimize my digital onboarding journey, how would the client react to either increase or decrease in the number of fields on the form? So they're trying to predict the predictive. And then we're also trying to determine some sort of a probability, which means what is the likelihood of a client to get a specific credit card or a specific mortgage or a line of credit product. So these are the type of questions where the data scientist community is using the historical trends and trying to use that data element to get a seek into the future on how the client might react to a specific outcome. Some of the skills required in this. Because this is an advanced field of analytics, one of the really basic things that you require and the hiring managers are looking is either an education, experience, or your working knowledge in the field of statistic and quantitative analytics. The second thing is data engineering. We spoke of how the data is becoming complex. Data comes in a lot of different shapes, forms, size, and format, structured and unstructured data. It is also said that on any modeling project, 70 to 80% of the work is involved in getting the data in the right shape and form to be used by your algorithm and models. So there is a very heavy element of data engineering. And finally, machine learnings. Machine learning basically is a field where we are asking the machine to ingest the data, analyze it, and throw some actionable insights back for manual review. It is really important for a data scientist to know different machine learning techniques, tactics, packages that are available, which will help you make your job in determining getting the right business outcome sooner. Let's look at the top industry trends. Generative AI. With ChatGPT becoming a household phenomenon, every household is very excited about ChatGPT. Whether you are whether you're a student, whether you're a professional, or anybody, you might have experienced typing some instructions and getting the outputs back from ChatGPT. So what generative AI basically means is it takes some instructions basis your interaction that you have and tries to either answer or give you some information basis the question that you're asked by generating the content that did not exist previously. When I say did not exist previously, what I basically mean is your query or the content is very specific. That's how we go about it. More recently, we've just heard a couple of weeks ago, we are now in the world where generative AI is converting text to video contents also. So all ever evolving field. Augmented working. Now, this is one of the things that I'm really passionately following about. There's a common hearsay which says, with the advent of machine learning and AI, the human jobs are at risk. Augmented working is basically how machines and humans will work together in the near future to get the most value out. So instead of competing with each other, it is the complementary evolution of the humans and the machines, which is called as augmented working. And finally, ethical AI. I think we've all heard the news about contents being used with AI in terms of what it uses, the information. There's always an element of ethical into what's right and what's wrong. So if you're enthusiastic in this field, it's always good to keep a watch out on this specific field. Now that we understand the different disciplines and the buzzwords, I want to end this on a really positive note. While I started my career 15 years ago in terms of analytics, the options to build a career was really limited in the organizations, which were pretty handful who were leveraging the data. Fast forward to today, the good news is there are so many more industries that are becoming data conscious, and there is such a high demand for analytics, irrespective of the domain that you choose to make a career out of. Whether you are a sports fan, whether you are a fitness fanatic, or whether you are into financial industry, or whether you are into self-driving cars, whatever your passion is can also become your profession, because almost all the industries nowadays is looking for really smart and intelligent data people to work in this field. I hope with this information you have now a better understanding of all the buzzwords. I would love to hear your feedback into how you like the content and the video. And also, if you like this content, please share, like, and subscribe to this channel for more such real-time content. See you.